Namibia has been independent for more than 29 years now, and the story of the struggle has been told over and over again. But yet there are those who were heavily involved in the struggle but still feel unrecognized for their deeds and hard-fought battles that brought the enemy to their knees. As we navigate through the list of the known and unknown war veterans, we came across 6 liberation struggle heroes who are willing to have a sit-down with us, former combatants of the People's Liberation Army of Namibia, known as PLAN, and share their journey through the struggle. The People's Liberation Army of Namibia, PLAN, was the military wing of the Southwest Africa People's Organization, SWAPO. It fought against the colonial South African Defence Force and Southwest African Territorial Force during the South African Border War. These men and women translated their accounts of events and battles as they had waged during their tour of duty inside and outside the country. Ngialasha Elisa Elia Haulyonjaba, born in Onekwaya village, Ohangwena, was a PLAN fighter under the G4 platoon. He joined OPO, the Ovambo People Organization, in 1957. Haulyonjaba later transferred to join PLAN combatants and was designated to the Eastern Front. His responsibilities included being a medical staff and an artillerist commander.
In politics, I was motivated, at Ondobe by some of our politician leaders, Franz Daniel Mshingo Odila, Lucas Pohamba, Patrick Kakwambi, and others. We were used to be told to go to village to ask people to come to the meeting of the OPO. That term is OPO. We want to go abroad because there's a problem in Namibia, inside West Africa at that time. You go to the work, you cannot get enough money. You are humiliated by the white, you are just a kafir.
Maria Nandenga, the wife to Zulu Nandenga, was born in Ehonge Ohangwena region. She too joined PLAN to become a fighter due to the enemy who invaded Namibia. In exile, she was trained in military and became one of the few female commanders on the Northern Front.
Okujapo ne mo 1974 mo November ndakwata kehalo lokukajoina oplana andi joina no plana modulamo training ange ondi trainingirwa mefitulaiti ya Nanjaba mo Angola.
Moses Nganate, a descendant of Botswana by Namibian parents, Nganate joined PLAN in 1962 with the aim to liberate his parents' country from the colony and went through military school in North Korea.
When the struggle started now, people campaigning about the struggle, that some people are going for training and so on. I left the school. I decided to join the struggle. In 1962, we went to Francistown in Botswana, where we stayed in a place called White City in White House in Francistown. 64 is when we crossed to Zambia. So the really things that created me or forced me to join the plan was because my parents came from Namibia, and while we were there we heard about the struggle that people are struggling to liberate Namibia, and I have forced myself to join that. It's only the thing forced me to join the liberation struggle.
Jonas Shiweda, with the combat name Tate Womontengo, Shiweda was born in Onekwaya village. Under the command of Moses Nganate, he was a plan fighter of the 4th Group Platoon known as G4.
Tate Womontengo, I know him. He's from our neighbor village on Onekwaya East. I know him before we went to abroad, and abroad we were together. I met him in Zambia. He went before me in abroad, and I learned, he told me, he was in the G4.
Mandume Meshikwa. Hailing from Embo, Mandume joined Oppo. Motivated by Kahumba Kandola, he then traveled to Tanganyika, now known as Tanzania, and North Korea for military training. By that time, he was known by his combat name, Kanyamukulwa.
At a school and even at the church, we used to have a lot of Namibian, the former SWAPO politicians. They used to come there and teach us. So that is how we started loving and even joining SWAPO. By then it was Oppo. Oppo is the mother of SWAPO. The men who used to tell us that one is Tatekulu, Kahumba, Kandola, and even Tatekulu Mzee Kaukungwa. In 1964 is when we left Odibo to join the plan. We went to Botswana, to the border of South Africa, on foot. That's why it took us exactly 3 months.
Amutenya Tuhadileni Nandenga, known by his combat name Zulu, joined Plan in Walvis Bay because of the condition of slavery in the apartheid era. He was trained in military school in Tanzania and then furthered his training in North Korea.
On the Jaina 1958, on the Jaina, Wambula and the People Organization, OPPO, 1958, Kombai. On the Jaina Morongaro, was Yoko Ndalaka. Simbolo hatu kondalaka hiyo mkoloni kolonyeka wika tulongo tainana nde shatu monona nde pini shuni hatu fange ndiye mutikaje nene Wambula and the People Organization Oppo. Oppo ya jamo mo OPC ya tota 1957 sa jana tuja ijena 1958. Tingono leta mahwiri tuja ini famo manman. Nalita Kahumba Kandola kakumbukoni ni kono original. Tiwe neke tutuma tiwe komba dashaja kwa South Africa.
The German Empire had administered Namibia as the colony of German Southwest Africa during the late 19th century. During the first, South African troops under General Louis Botha occupied the colony and deposed the German colonial administration. The end of the war and the Treaty of Versailles left South Africa in possession of Southwest Africa under a League of Nations mandate, Under the terms of the mandate, the South African government was only permitted to administer Southwest Africa until its inhabitants were prepared for their own political self-determination. However, South Africa interpreted the mandate as a veiled annexation and made no attempt to prepare Southwest Africa for future autonomy. Beginning of March 1962, Nioma dispatched 2 recruiters, Gifikepunye Lucas Pohamba and Elia Mwatale, to Ovamboland, where SWAPO's traditional political base was located. Pohamba and Mwatale succeeded in recruiting hundreds of volunteers for a new guerrilla army, which was subsequently named the Southwest African Liberation Army, SWALA. SWALA's headquarters was established in Dar es Salaam, the capital of Tanzania, which was sympathetic to SWAPO's cause. The Tanzanian government permitted SWALA to set up a training camp at Kongwa, where the volunteers would receive guerrilla training. The Soviet Union, Ghana, Egypt, Algeria, North Korea, and the People's Republic of China all offered free training programs for SWALA recruits, provided they were able to make the necessary travel arrangements. In September 1965, SWALA established its first training camp on Southwest African soil at Umguluwombashe, one of the 5 potential bases identified by SWALA's initial reconnaissance team as appropriate sites to recruit and drill more insurgents. At the time, SWALA numbered only about 250 personnel, most of whom were still undergoing training at Kongwa.
South Africa was powerful forces in the South in Africa. Yeah, compared to the other military, they were compared that South Africa was compared to Egypt, who were having a strong army, air force. We were just few air detachment facing a battalion, I say.
The insurgents at Umguluwombashe succeeded in recruiting only 30 locals before the location of their camp was compromised to South African forces that later attacked the camp. The Plan War Unit used various tactics to invade the country and attack the South African forces.
The structure, after the people were trained, they set up a structure and regrouping the unit. When you send people inside the country, you cannot send a big number. People were trained as a guerrilla warfare to attack in the small group. Any group which is going to inside the country, they were sent in the unit or in the composition of just 15, some 10, some. They were not more than of that because there was no people. The manpower were lacking.
When we went to Tanganyika, we went right away to a place called Okongwa. So we are the second group to enter Okongwa, the first SWAPO military training base. We were trained just in the combat. It was general training. And then after that, we were chosen to go after a year and a half. We went to the first Namibian who went to be trained at Northern Korea. The first Namibian to enter in Northern Korea.
Haulionjaba was an engineer and overall a chief of operation for the front in Angola.
I was trained and specialized in artillery, B-10, 82, 75, 76 millimeter anti-tank.
Zulu Nandenga, he served as a medical staff, a commander and a comsat of the soldiers at the North Front, as well as serving as a member of the military council in Angola.
Tanzania monepa date lingua tete military kosiwala nokujano po ondaka ne konoso kole mo 1967 na konoso kole ya kolenda te ndaho ngwano military academy nokujano po shinda jakunya ko konoso kole ya 67 ondaka ko Fulanda. Ndane ko Fulanda ndi ku bandu ku banko. Ko yi nyam akuchia bo bwata ngonya mu Angola. Ku bandu ku banko ko nenda kala donad che odongo dilimbali. Nanti sifiti ko nenda ngako ulonja bano. Beya ko unity yange. Fimbo ndinando pa ndinano osi. No pa tunisi onye bota ya ne kwame amenda komanda yabo ko hia babota ko kawango fio kombukushu popoti mo shipo hambukushu.
Zulu and Haulionjaba take us through their most epic battles to date, showing how determined plan was to liberate their motherland.
Simbolito mune battle diapo ngashwete ndinga oluku bashi kese no Haulionjaba onja po ya kwa meme ko ivatelininga nashinde nombra mopo utifunja iko kushishi efimbolito paka tuna atakadi hapo.
We attacked Kamenga base.
A major battle already lakula between Kamenga patengo kamba Kamenga.
Kamenga base was in the border. South Africa created a base there between just in the corner where Kwandu River 10 and from the west the land, the border went up to Katima Mulilo, where was a big base there.
Atu idenge po fitu kambaya mpaka ne kuna mawaja kuja Kamenga peno manyia major battle dindarwa to do kudiwalu.
We fought many battles on that area. I remember the big battle I faced, we fought is where we captured the war material, first plant captured for war material.
Okonekwa kuna mawa di malulano kutoka tuifi hapo ya jakembu ne radio communication
is where for the first time we fought hand to hand with the enemy. When you are close with the enemy, you cannot fire anymore. You are just within 5 meters, 2 meters, you cannot fire. We use only bayonet, the knives and the gun, hand to hand. The material were used in Shwapo in the meeting of in Sudan, on the meeting of OAU 10th anniversary. Shwapo got a good point there. Was recognized that it is a fighting unit. Have fighting unit because we saw the war captured material.
Simple Japan pulling on nae, Dawa to commander for Omarojo, Zulu, Angome, or Japan ever pay way main that bomb. Yakuton Japata ticket at Rumbu to Milan, Umbu bomb. Ne committing on Gashide Ganate. We only Alimokuya Swanite Tampurana pa Shwed.
After the operation of Zambia in 1999, I came back to the headquarters in Oshikokwa. I stayed only 2 days, and the enemy launched an offensive attack in that days. The operation they call smoke shell operation. And another term is opstick operation. They attacked that base from 8 o'clock, the Air Force's bombardment, and 12 o'clock the ground came. It was very surprising. We were not expecting South Africa reaching that area on the ground. We were having a region, northeastern, northern, northwestern. The headquarters is in the rear. We thought this enemy, when it's crossing the border, will first face those regions, and then the front will form the. Apparently, South Africa is using a tactic of jamming all communication. That they no communication with the front.
Tokana tulifane kulinda tetumbula. Shayunze kuingo tetupisomilonga. Twetali unita tetumbu.
The friend who was our friend. Unit attacked our unit in Ostumba.
Pipaka tu na empera. Sasa empera ya recognition kuni. Unit ni kala recognition.
One combatant sacrificed there. Zero was wounded, and he managed to escape. The report came back to the headquarters in Namibian that we were attacked. We did not reach there. One sacrificed. The car was burned. It's where we immediately met the senior in the front, Brunganga, Zulu, and me. I was called. What should we do now? We cannot go further while we are attacked in the rear. We should defend our area. The unit which we used to go inside were recalled. It was now 76. We recalled back to clear our rear supply. The unit was basing in also having some bases in Ostumba.
Hatukamda hatuita, hatudenga unita, tuikumena impela na kuba. Hapishipo kwini hatu unde to hamangwane.
We clear up, and then the road was open, and then we started again, divided the manpower. Some are guiding our area routes.
The war waged on for so long that to some, the picture of independence started to become dim and dull. But for Haulionjaba, he was aware of the enemy's tactics to delay independence. Kasinga.
The independence was 1978. People were talking about the independence to come, 435 to be implemented. But South Africa maneuvered. That's why he went to bomb Kashinga, so that he can delay that implementation. The Group 5 of Western power who were given a task to make sure that South Africa comply with the demand of UN to remove his administration from Namibia. Now, we were having a hope that South Africa will comply.
Zulu was later promoted from a captain of Platoon C to a major, a regional commander of the northern front of the Ovambo area. In 1981, Haulionjaba was withdrawn from the front and was sent for police training in Tanzania. He later went on to become a member of the military council until independence. Jonas Shueda, who was of the eastern platoon known as the G4, led his forces to attack the enemy from the east as a second in command to Moses Nganate. Shiweda, who was currently paralyzed and unable to speak, had a near-death experience after being captured by the South African colonial forces. Moses Nganate was the commander of G4. Together with Shiweda as his deputy, Nganate recounts his battle leading up to him being shot. Due to Shiweda's health condition, Haulonjaba narrates his accounts.
So in 1962, when the struggle started now, people campaigning about the struggle, that some people are going for training and so on. I left the school. I decided to join the struggle. In 1962, we went to Francistown in Botswana, where we stayed in a place called White City in White House in Francistown. From there we went to Tanzania, then some of us, me and other colleagues, we were about 10, we went to North Korea for training as a military, in the military training. The time we came back from the training, I was given the G4 group. I was in the G4 group as the head of it. I was with the comrade Jonas Shiweda, whom I understand now is paralyzed.
He told me he was a second in command of the group. The group commander was Nganate.
He's the one whom we went together. We crossed the river through Kwandu River, then heading to Rundu. So we crossed, it was in the afternoon.
He told me that day that it was midday when they reached the area, I think it's Kongola, the small river there.
When we crossed the river, we walked a little bit because we were taken by the vehicle. Then our leaders, when they went back, then we had to travel now, footing.
Castroli told them that this area he know is peaceful. They should take off their clothes and wash themselves because they walk a long distance. While Castroli is going to the village to see to get information if the enemy used to come to that area.
We have a little rest. It means the place where we are resting, next to it is where the Boers had a camp there.
Tate Omontengo Shiweda said after he washed his clothes, he was only left with underwear. The nature called and he left others. He said, I went only few meters from others. And Castroli, he went for almost 1 hour.
While we had a little rest there, we saw a person just moving behind us. When he moved behind us, another one was coming to, it means they were camouflaging us, they were just attacking us, coming from behind.
Before to return, what he heard, Shiweda told me that what he heard only the sound of the vehicle, the door of the vehicle closing the
They were trying to drive us to the camp now. It means these who are coming behind, When they started shooting, we started now noticing that, oh, something is happening.
He was behind of some of the bush, and the gun started to open. Ta, 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 ta. And he heard others crying and shouting.
And we pulled out our guns, and as they were driving us towards the camp, then I, with other comrades, we took the left direction. Some went straight there.
He waited a little, and he moved away from the area. And the gun, after stopped firing, the Boer, he heard that there was sound. I mean, the Boer, the white, they were talking in Afrikaans. Fangom, fangom, fangom.
Some, they took another direction. Then I took another direction. Then I started now shooting. It was only to shoot to try to open the way for where to pass. It means I saw some in front of me. Those I just swept them out. Then I had to pass. When I passed, it was now getting dark.
He ran away. He went to the bush, and he said he walked around about 3 kilometers. He found a footprint, and he followed it up. He followed them on the some distance. He surprised found the bushmen have a gun, and they surrounding him that he should not move. They would kill him.
It means it's when they shoot me here. They shoot me here. So I believe the one who shot me, I believe he was down now. I shot him already, and he was just trying to shoot me while he was wounded or something like that.
They took him to their hut. After a few minutes, the vehicle arrived. The fort arrived with the whites, and they say, yes, that's the men whom we are looking for. They only survived 2.
I took about 7 days just in the bush, plus this wound. Now it was very difficult for me to walk until Capri Street. There I was trying to calling everyone. I had remained with 1 bullet in my gun, noticing that, thinking that if someone like these enemies can pound me, I have to kill myself.
They started asking him, where's others? Well, you only survived 2. We wanted 1. He cannot tell. They arrest him. They chain him. They put him in the vehicle. What he told me. They went up to the base where the enemy based.
Then I took the long distance. That distance I walk, but now trying to calling people who can help me, those of the canoe. And the following morning came one person with a canoe.
His arm was chained behind. He was left after the tent. The enemy, the soldier, went inside the tent. They left him guided by the dog. He decided, and he took his arm down, and then his arm came up to on the front.
He hid me in the river bank. I stayed a week in the river bank there. in the trenches there. That's why I've stayed there for a week. So I don't know what he did done. He informed Comrade Topias Ainyeko. The time Topias Ainyeko went there to see me at Kaprip Strip, he found me there. Then he said, no, now you just get this money and get to Lusaka, back to Lusaka. I am going back with a pontoon to the place where I'm staying. Then is the time Comrade Ainyeko was shot and killed by the Boers when he went to me.
After a long fight commanding the plan fighters, the Plan Strategic Committee decided to release him from battle, which led him to return back to Botswana in 1970.
Later, Comrade Lucas Pohamba, the former president, came to me and asked, now when you're in this situation, do you still want to go back to the field, or you want to go back home to where you came from and have a little rest? When he meant to Botswana. Then I said, no, I want to go to Botswana to have a rest a little bit.
After he saw the dog because the rain was too heavy, the dog was leaning, and he jumped while he was on the handcuff behind of the tent. The dog started barking. Bow, bow. He ran. Midnight, he said, as they were trained how to read the star in the sky. He had no compass, but his compass was on the was leaded by star. Kwamona kucha where's the north is. He said he remember how they were trained. He said they were trained how to release if you are handcuffed and they want to get out from the handcuff, what material you can use. He told me that they were told in Egypt that the handcuff can be released itself when you urinate itself on it. It will be automatically getting off. And then he urinated and make a tanga motastaminem. On a mile 15 minutes. He come free with only very short trousers. He remained because he left. Kwenda tacho kwa dimo kutokwenda omafikweli avali la tatu hasa vaivingaske mokulia omatindi enyoma mbutu nu dilona tacho kwali udilona luvali pomba dabu udilona udila. They were trained how to that udirona otodrukuli udila otodrukuli ashka hawish kapena mdiro anangala ashketa anangala tai tapendo gatai au kas just facing the north direction.
Shueda later became Chief of Logistics and Armory and a member of Military Council in Angola. Nandenga, known for her combat name Valombweleni, she commanded a number of soldiers at a camp near Kasinga. She recounts her battles in exile as a base commander in Angola.
Mamilongo heari na nano. Mona vombangondi wetelo mokotoba. Tata kwa kontondi. Embulu. De tuhanga mefitu. Efimbolo ne talingu no na bukadana tubashana. Untandite tuhange mefito. Atulitirita mongo kashana pipo nkunda umwe ulingona tango Angola. Komlola. Twaja ko atukalane mo mukashingo tenda mweki. Shashika tuhole kwa like efimbolo ka tuhole ko nimaka kwaitu akwaita. Tunenje bodetu de akada. Atushuna ko fulanda. Omilongo heali ngona amano monenda ka poindi ngwandi ninge komanda o Monlemba wanangamba mo Angola. Atukalane Monlemba mo atukalamo Monlemba fiyo shisho kashinga takadengwa tuli Monlemba shikadengwa kontondi mukambange omunene kwali hamwendele abantu abatajoina tadi mo Namibia akwashiwana ashame fimbolo mo ko itanda training wanale ndakaja pone handika ke ngaba kune kwa kala nena mono fene fimbolo ne kamba dakatukukane ine original komanda julu idia papo mono fene yambulunga ngatayuka ne kunyako kono se east nikadeliko kono fe west kuningini no ngashito tutale turi ngashe kwali hatuli neshi ngwidi mangwidi mo itiriana nga ilulanga hatulio mafo o mifimba shopota o mafwenya shita ta hapenga enya pe fimbolo ku hapa hata apwe hata alishi afa finga lafa afa afinga haturi hatupon efe wa detu she efe o mariata o hatuko shinima hatuko shifikutu yetu katuni kutu hatuni ngaike kucha shankweni eli ngaho obotompo o shikeshe manga koyeta kakashakeri pe ihaturi she kwali kakuno shapula efimbolo haturi omahola twape kwa shiwana venya veri meni la Angola ve utachaya mondino lata utachaya mondino kakombo utachaya mondino ngobe oshweke twa kupanga fiyo shingone suapota ende ngone yodika ko kilongo hatupe wangone hatende ngone hatupe o supply maola to aria ika aturwamo watu idia yatutikwa one twende to dio ngenge kwa dipo kuchifimbolo fikolo hatutula mbele la de tupe tafoli ihwa opo hatu ya fele mbele la na difingwe na de aturia ngebodeke yango ne o ai ese mota cheka na due o ngengo ta dia na due to hangenge ndiri oponda homata kadona ta homata pistoli makalova idiapa ngastota lengendi nga kandine uniform inaenda kolutulangoku kujashike kuba nyempela iliponga haya yoshike noka hwakesha ike uniform yakambestere enda kolutulangoku hapo kwali tufika hapa ukadona vo benenge tohangenge yeses hailopo tela shamane ta diko malubango ta dipeni ndiri po fulanda ame mwene woshi ndengengo itana ukanga keshe mwata cheke ai hapo pena kaitapa opena ni mwe yali yetu dengo shiminikila mushishingo otuweta shike oshikana odila kuiwete ashiko shikana hita hidimu shiwete sheke shapele shwam apesho popa toka ike to ndenongu yo twitola pwake tubdeke shita kutintini ndam abo mwake nokufaduka ponokuya shasho kushishina na kucha nasho tune misela odongo adishikule dilado ohe keta bakele ta dengu fikune tafaduka potai shimakwali no shitelela wanga ngona kuli wanangala shitoduduluka po unyung kwenye kwanale.
After the training of those who offered to join the Liberation War, not all made it to the war front. Mandume Mweshihwa, who was part of the first group that entered North Korea for military training, but due to his age, he never made it to the war front.
I was supposed to join G4, and then commanders, especially Commander Hainyeko, they said, anybody who is under 20, you are not allowed to go back to Namibia. Because by then I was under 20. They said only over 20 years old will go. Otherwise, most of you have to join either further education. You did your training already in North Korea, and now you come back again. You did everything. What you need now is to continue with your further education.
Mweshihwa, he furthered his education in Kenya and later at the University of Manchester in Great Britain, which qualified him to be an education teacher. He became a teacher at Tobias Hanyeko Education Center in Angola. After independence, Mandume Mweshihwa became a teacher upon his return to Namibia at various education institutions in northern Namibia, and later became the director of a DBC unit, Development Brigade Corporation in Grootfontein.
We started training the youth Namibians. I was the director, and we started training people from all over Namibia. So I used to move all over Namibia to make a selection of people who are going to Grootfontein, DBC. After maybe 5 years or 6 years somewhere there, DBC became a National Youth Service. And then I worked there. Only DBC, the name changed to become a National Youth Service. Then as a result, I stayed only 1 year in a National Youth Service. Then I said, now I have to leave this and leave it in the hands of the youth.
The National Youth Services specialize in delivering national services and personal development programs to the youth through training and creating opportunities for skills development and career paths for the youth. And as it has been demonstrated by them when they joined the liberation movement at a young age, their wishes for the future of the country is for the youth to prosper and have the chance to take this young nation to greater heights.
Younger generation of Namibia, kaisharia unju kwa akulu. Umuna kutawa shilongo shikucha, honde yapo yatika. Tukashinga hapo, kushatoka Mozambia, Vietnam, Kishepam.
Oh, I wish the youth of Namibia to be given opportunity to make some production. I can tell you why I was in Russia in 1970. I was told how China developed. The leader of Chinese was Mao Zedong. The prime minister was Zhou Enlai. They went to Russia after independence. You know, China got to independence in 1948, recently after Second World War. They went to Russia I was told. And they said they are going to establish a socialist republic in China. And Russia said, yes, good, enough. What you have to do now, you lead the two, go back to home, send your children to be, your student to be trained here, to be how to manufacture. What they did, they went to China, they sent 2 million students to Russia. The Russians told me that those 2 million giving us a headache. Every village you go, just a Chinese. Every factory go, is a Chinese, a group of Chinese. We say, what government, our government is doing this? And they say some came for 2 years, course 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. After completing, they went back to China. The Russians said that we monitor them. It takes them only 10 years. All factories in Russia are in China. Manufacturing, it is modifying everything. This is what I said, oh, why we should not supposed to do that the same, our children, giving them opportunity, because this, we elder, we only did what we did. Well, we are now in the world of computer. We cannot run a computer.
The country was free, but yet for some mentally they were not free. Flashes of the war cries still lingered in their conscience, and some to an extent of having nightmares.
Myself up to now, I don't sleep well. I used to just jumping from the sleep, because I used to see my colleague whom I was together, whom they were somewhere under my command, who were captured by the enemy, alive, whom I was thinking I will see them released when we get independence. But it's zero.
Paninga mwedura dia pumita. Topa pe una no muka dio ta to ele to enjodi. Kesi bonje kimita. Idada ko to nya paka na wone ko manda dipetu. Ni ko manango de do nyeko. Kesi ku ite hipu idi ko munyo numboti. Alusho iko feke nita. Alusho iko feke nita. Nana tashi iti ku itakumunyi hipu komboti. Iti ku kumunyoka.
Ke fimbo limwe watanga njodi uli nomtonje fimbo limwe watanga njodi mwata kwa fimbo limwe watanga njodi mwata kwa mtonji oshwahike shiringa iye hale nana kupwa mamonte enyuma yita.
Nevertheless, after all what they have been through, today they live a normal life with their families.
Kondo bono iliate kondishivika ame wana kakoma wo kahanja no kuli ndari o mafumo maulu ompe haipalake diva mu barindi fudule ndani ngira komongula ndimati ndatondoka mokadiva owa kadiva iva haiva popere kakulu owa ndobe haiva fufe kweungu ne kubili ishurimu amati o mpanyama